0 hour strikes, the clock ticks down. Rise from the ashes, wear your crown. No fear, no chains. Break the mold, forge your destiny. Fierce and bold.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to 0 Hour. I'm Mark, and I'm half-ass ready. And we have the Dead Prepper and Rural 2IC with us tonight.
Good evening, everybody.
What's going on?
So, we had a problem with scheduling. We had KatrikaLOL coming on tonight, and Katrinka's husband fell ill, and she took him to the urgent care, and the urgent care took him to the ER. So everybody remember Katrinka and her husband in prayer tonight. And, you know, she was very excited about being here, and we're going to reschedule Katrinka, and I'm looking forward to having her. So, but you may just have the three of us tonight. I have submitted an invite to an emergency panelist, and we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. So, but anyway, Dead Prepper, introduce yourself.
Howdy, everybody. I'm the Dead Prepper. We make videos about things you shouldn't do. And, mistakes were made, and we don't want you guys to end up like me. So,
Hoorah. So, Rural 2IC, let's talk about you.
That would be me. I am your Rural 2IC, which is what that little thing right there says. So that must be true because it's on the internet, and we believe everything on the internet is 100% true.
So, good deal. So, well, let's say hello to a few people. Anthony Crouch, good to see you. Grit and Grace, great to see you. Kane Corso, good to see you. Carolina Country Homesteading, welcome in. Mad Shad, Skull, brother. And Texas Raider, good to see you, brother. Dan H. in the house. And Shawnee Groves, good to see you, Shawnee. So,
yeah, we got to get Shawnee on sometime.
I would love that. Ghost Lincoln called us the Stooges, which I'm not going to argue with you, Ghost. But no, Shawnee's definitely, she's very knowledgeable on the gardening stuff, man. It is, I've gardened my whole life, and not that I've done it scientifically. I've done what my grandma told me, or my grandpa told me, or my dad, or my uncle, or whatever.
Right.
But I love when she talks about the science behind the things she does. And yeah, I would love to have her on. Shawnee, we would love to have you on. So you need to pop an email to somebody and make that happen. So, but here we go. We have the guest of honor has shown up. So stand by. I'm going to add him to the stage.
Jesus.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, y'all?
You are live and in charge, baby.
Yep. Well, sorry I'm late. I'm about to head to the studio.
You do your thing, Jelly Bean. We'll sit here and watch your head bob while you do that. So y'all,
juggle 10 animals and walk.
He has been on before, and y'all know him. I'll give him a minute here when he gets his poop in one pile to introduce himself. But if y'all have questions for Mermaid Press or any of the three of us, or you just got something on your chest you want to get off, pop it in the chat. And hello, Nick Easy. Hello, Rescue. Glad you showed up, brother.
The legend himself.
GMG, what's up?
And the Orlando Preppers in the house. So, but yeah. So glad y'all all showed up tonight. You know, we do these things, especially all of us content creators. We do these things all the time, and then when, yes, Grit and Grace, we were talking about that video in the backstage. Yeah, that's one of those subjects that a lot of people don't like to touch on. But yeah, I thought Landon, Maryland and Press covered that well, and but yeah, and we don't always have to talk about prepper stuff, y'all. You know,
No, absolutely not.
You know,
you talk about SHTF, that right there, that's a personal SHTF right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, one thing I bring up all the time is, you know, some people think of SHTF as a world domain. Some people think of SHTF as in a regional or country-wide domain. I like to think of SHTF as a semi-regional, you know, like Southeast, Northeast, Southwest. And then some people don't think about it goes all the way down to daily lives.
Yeah, personal. Yeah,
I mean, it goes all the way down to seeing somebody at the supermarket on their worst day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you're right, son. That was, again, I you know, it took me a minute to and again, look, it was Dan H, but you know, we have all either experienced this kind of trauma in our families, or we have witnessed this kind of trauma in our close relatives, or we have witnessed this kind of trauma and drama in our neighborhood. So, you know, and you're right, Roy, it is a personal SHTF, and it's hard to imagine how difficult it is for these people to leave their home and everything they have to go get the help they need. But it's nice that people like us, who are usually the perpetrators, you know, the people who look like us are usually the perpetrators. It's nice to know that we've let these people know that we're here to help too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what our community's about. Our community's about helping people to help themselves, yes, but we're about helping each other, you know. So, but no, son, I thought it was a great video.
Thank you.
I thought you were
and I want to do more. I came up with that one kind of on the spot, and I knew exactly what I wanted to say for like an intro, and it just, you know, it flowed. That subject is, like you said, it's sensitive, and honestly, the great number of the public have no idea it even goes on. It's not even on their radar. But every once in a while, God opens your eye just a little farther, and you see the signs. Mm-hmm. And that gives you the opportunity to try to help. And, you know, people have to accept your help. It's not always hey, I got a handout here, and then it goes the way I think it's going to go. Sometimes it's keeping that hand there until they're ready to grab.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, and that's another thing, Grit and Grace, you know, the mental abuse that doesn't leave the marks on the outside of your body. You know, and I'm not speaking for everybody on the panel, but I know in my life, I've experienced that kind of thing. And, you know, it is inside your mind is a prison when you're in that situation. And, you know, it just, but, you know, we talk about prepping, and we talk about being ready for anything. So, you know, part of being a prepper is strength, right? And so where do you find the mental strength, right? That's not my forte, right? I mean, where do you find your mental strength, Dead Prepper?
I don't know. I mean, just years of experience, I guess, just dealing with situations and that. And, I spent all that time out in the casino industry. And let me tell you, that can be a little stressful at times. I mean, I don't want to go through all the things that have happened those years, but let me tell you, it'll definitely toughen you up. We'll put it that way. So just experience. I mean, that's pretty much all I'm leaning on,
Yeah, right. Rural, where do you find your inner strength, man? Where do you find your mental toughness?
I tell you, for me, it's kind of in the workplace, kind of like what he said, but it's that time where you sit down and you have that one-on-one with God, and you're like, man, I need some strength. And boy, did he answer me. I've got a wiggly tooth 6-year-old behind me, and you look in his eyes, it doesn't matter, how horrible the situation. Suddenly you have a newfound strength where you're like, you know what, we're getting this done.
Yeah. Murmured and Press?
I get my strength through training, and I'm not talking about benching. I'm talking about getting muddy, getting bloody, getting dirty, and knowing that whatever's thrown at me, I can take up my weight. And I also get my strength through family. The training is for the family, and the family helps the training. Yeah. I mean, it's a Venn diagram, and right in the middle is me. And I think believing in family will make you want to train harder.
Yeah. I believe that. And Rescue's got a good point. Yeah. Some of mine comes from stubbornness too. Just, I'm not going to let this get me. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good point, Rescue. That is.
It's fair.
That's where I find my strength, man. I had my strength tested in this year. It's been a, it's been a year, and Landon's had his strength tested. And at the end of the day, that's where I find my strength. So, but yeah, I mean, the mental toughness thing, and that's going to be important when shit hits the fan. Mental toughness is really important. And you don't have to all the blood and guts.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, I've talked with all of you that I'd like to train the unsexy stuff, man. Reading a leadership book, doing public speaking, reading about public speaking, just trying to be a better orator and having that ability. It's not always that you're going to show up and half-ass ready is going to be the one leading the thing. He might be gone that day, and having those subtle abilities to make a leadership transition or to make a transition into emergency level, readiness, that having those skills alone just make you a better neighbor, a better husband, a better father, right? Those unsexy skills that nobody practices unless it's their job, pretty much, I believe I was just gifted a little bit, and that got me into wanting to learn about it. And that's where I try to draw a lot of skill and power from in life. But what we do here, giving everybody the voice to ask a question, that's, believe it or not, that's practicing their leadership, humbling themselves to ask a question.
Right. Yeah. Well, that brings me, I was a scoutmaster for 12 years, and the scouts are, as a scoutmaster, your job, for the first 3 stages, the first 3 ranks of the Boy Scout, it's teaching them how to be scoutcraft. The next 3 ranks are about leadership, right? So, I mean, I know where I stand on this issue, but there's this debate in our community, in the military and in scouting and in other places, probably in law enforcement and fire department too. But do you think leadership is a born skill, or is it a learned skill? Exactly. I know where I stand on this, but what do you think, Rural?
I think you can have natural ability in it. I think you definitely need training and to fine tune it. I really liked what Myrmidon said on the transition part. I was just sitting here thinking, if something went down and the four of us were together and you guys voted me leader, but we had to go do an extraction or something, part of being leadership is to know I need to step back, and the guy that knows what he's doing needs to step up.
Yeah. What about you, Dan Prepper?
Well, I think it could be both. I think some people are natural born leaders and some had to learn. I don't think I was a natural born leader, but all that time in the casino industry and kind of turns you, changes things. So, I think it can go both ways. I think it's easier on someone if they're just like a natural leader. But yeah, I think you can go either way. I think it can be a learned skill as well, but it's going to be a lot harder on you.
Yeah. What do you think, Landon?
I mean, I've seen both work. I mean, there are guys who show up day one and you're like, all right, well, this guy's under me. He's going to be doing the minimum. And then before long, you see them watching someone that you watch and you're like, he's on board. Right. And then sometimes the guy just shows up and you're like, wow, you are the guy from the poster. It's weird how you show up to where I'm at. And then they always have things to work on. That I think there's a severe lack of people wanting to train that. People kind of show up and if you ask most of everybody in the chat, they all have an example of poor leadership.
Yeah.
And then they have maybe one example of one time they experience a leadership style that they could get on board with, but they don't know much about it. Right. I could be very authoritarian and wag my finger and tell you what to go do, but I won't gain your respect that way. And respect, respect isn't a river. All right. Respect is a bowl. We're all in it. All right. And when I send a ripple down that side of the bowl, it's going to get to you eventually, but one of them's going to come back around to me. And the style, like when I show up to something, I pick the guy from the poster and I'm going to do whatever that guy does. And I'm going to see what I learn. And I always learn something. You have to be teachable, and that makes you a better leader. Because that way, when I never see that guy again, and the next time I go to something and act like that guy did, somebody's going to do the same thing to me.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I learned through all my years that when you're trying to get people to do what you want them to do, not everybody's the same. There's some people you got to, kind of like make friends with them and say, hey, man, I really need you to do this for me. And then there's other people that you got to treat them like Private Pile in Full Metal Jacket, because that's how they respond. That's what they respond to. So you got to find out what buttons to push in every person to get them to go along with the plan, because everybody's different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's one of the ones, though, that society, because we're all about that instant gratification. You can be a great leader. You can be there. You can teach them. You can do all this stuff, but that one mess up and they brand you for life. They don't remember all the training and all the extra time and all the different things you've done for them. That one failure, that one little mistake, because we're all human. Now you're suddenly the worst person there is.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that's again, I told you I knew where I stood. Look, you can teach leadership. Okay, it comes easier to people who have that instinct born into them. It does. It comes easier to them, but you still have to hone that skill, right?
Yeah.
So these leadership skills is exactly what all of y'all touched on, which I was glad you did, because I knew that's what you would do. But all those leadership skills are learned experiences that you've learned in your life, either from a leader or a book or practicing what you do. These leadership skills you learn, yes. And leadership is about making decisions, okay? So when the shit hits the fan, you're going to have a decision. If you're the LT on a Marine Corps fire team and you're told to take this hill, and your first decision is going to be left or right. Well, it's not right or wrong, it's left or right. But your job is to make that decision, right? So if you choose right and it's the wrong decision, guess what? You have another decision to make right now. So you can't freeze up. You have to continue to make these decisions, right? And that's what leadership, that's what we kept trying to teach in Scouts. And oh wow, that's really great, Carolina.
That's deep.
And that, dude, it's y'all heard me preach on this. I've preached on this, and we have lots of men in our community who preach on that right there. They preach on it all the time. We talk about that father figure in your life, right? That man who took time out of his, and I don't care if you're a boy or a girl, that father figure in your life was so instrumental in moving you forward. No, I love that. I mean, we could talk an hour about that. Really, we could, and the problems that it's caused in this country. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Landon, you can pontificate on that because, and I'd really like to hear. I mean, I know I'm your dad. But dude, you had other people besides me in your life too, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I was well blessed with role models, and all different kinds too. It's not like I had a clone of the same guy everywhere I went, and I worked for people I respected and I tried to learn things from them. I saw in me that I needed to learn, and that being humbling yourself and being teachable. When I go to a tactical class, right, I'm at the range or whatever, I don't want good job. I don't want attaboy. I want you did exactly what I told you to do. That's all I want. I want to be teachable. When you're surrounded by men who have done that in their lives, and now they're not even on the down slope of life, right? They're running the ridges and doing the job just the way they were taught to do, and they're doing it their way. When you actually pay attention to those people, they teach you the things that they weren't taught, that they learned themselves, and you get to carry that on. Wow. And in my life, I was just surrounded by so many different influences. I mean, I have family that's engineers. I have family that's farmers. I have family that's been a farmer but is now an engineer. I mean, there are so many schools around me, right, that I can dip my ladle into and make my own, that my toolbox is the size of a building compared to what some people get. If your dad was a plumber and his dad was a plumber and you're surrounded by plumbers your whole life, guess what? You're going to know a little thing about plumbing. I don't care if you're an accountant. Yeah. That just wasn't the case for me. I was willing to work in things I've never done before. I had to humble myself to go learn. And I think that the men around me saw that. And, and when I was out of line, they told me. And it was never a discipline thing. It was hey, we don't do that here. I was always held part of the conversation and was never the kid at the kiddie table. And so I may not have matured, right, as quickly, but I understood that if I wanted to learn from these men, I had to do what they wanted me to do and act the way that made them want to teach me. Right. Not everybody has that opportunity in life.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, Chip, in your, you and I are of an age, so when you're at our age, we don't have, the people who taught us are no longer with us, right?
Right.
So do you still find leadership from other men in your life?
Not really. We're kind of like the matriarchs of the family now, so we're the ones dishing it all out. I mean, my wife's parents are gone. My dad's still around. I don't see him a whole lot, but as far as our family goes with the kids and the grandkids and all that, they come to us when they want to know something or need instructions or have questions or. Our oldest son used to call us about 5 times a day for everything. I mean, just literally everything, and so we're kind of on the like you were saying, we're the ones that are trying to give the rest of them leadership and instruction and experience that, you know, kind of went along with what we got when we were younger. So we're trying to pass that on. You know, we're at that stage where we're trying to pass it on to the younger ones. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at, or that's where I'm at anyway. So
Right. So Grace asked, what are immediate red flags to look for before letting somebody into your group? We'll let you start with that, Ro. We'll end up with Landon, but
Perfect. Yeah. And for me, you have somebody, and let's say that it's not your first time meeting. It's before you let them into the group. So we've been conversating and talking and doing some things. One of my absolute biggest red flags is when they're not evaluating me. When they just want into the group, there's something not right about this. This is a two-way interview, and if that person trying to come into my group is not trying to ask questions and figure things out and examine us, then no, that's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah. Dead Prepper?
yeah, I'm kind of going to agree with Rural. There's a group around here that I, kind of was talking to a little bit, like, yeah, I'm not, they didn't know who I was. So I'm kind of, like, yeah, I kind of want to get into this prepping thing. And immediately they were like, well, you should join our group. And that was that was big red flag right there. I'm like, listen, if you're not even willing to vet me at all, then I don't want anything to do with your group. So I just said, well, I don't think that's for me. And I kind of stopped talking to them. That was the end of that. But yeah, that's a huge red flag right there. If they're not willing to look into you any, then they probably didn't look into the rest of the people in the group. So who knows what you're getting yourself into,
Right. Yeah. Landon, what do you think?
I have several. I'm going to do because I'm a spy. All right. I up here, I'm a spy. So I do spy stuff. I'm going to do an open source background check on you first. We know who we don't want, and you have to be willing to do the work. It's not always paying $10 and getting a background check done. Sometimes I want to see what you are like on social media. If you have any, I wouldn't mind if somebody wouldn't bring me a reference, somebody I may know that can vouch for you. We're in a community base, right? So we're not letting somebody in the group that lives in Michigan if you live in Georgia. All right. That proximity plays a factor. So hopefully they're already part of your community. And around here with what I do, I know when people are asking about me, word gets back to me. And I know that the people that get the word back to me, they give that person the truth. It shows them that, hey, I'm interested in you, but it also shows, hey, yeah, they're the ideal citizen when you're around, but this is what they're doing on the weekends. The second big flag for me, I'm not saying we need to do a credit check on people. When people have financial problems, we've all been there. Okay. I've been there. I wouldn't have trusted me then either. Right. Everybody's kind of in panic mode and you're not making good decisions. Your life is out of balance. That having some financial security, like, hey man, I know you just bought 3 trucks, but I know you mop floors for a living. Like, I'm pretty sure you're not being very responsible and that 2 of those trucks are going to get repoed next month. Mm-hmm. That kind of outlook on somebody, be like, hey, listen, man, I want you to get your life together first. If you coming and hanging out with me is worth it to you, I want you to fix yourself first, because that's what you owe it to yourself. So that actually gives somebody an opportunity to show why you want them in your group.
Right.
The financial side of the house, we live in a capitalist society. Everything is fixable. All right. It takes time, but everything's fixable. You can make decisions now that make sure I have to eat ramen for the next month, but next month I'll be eating good. I'll be back on T-bone steak. And they show they're willing to make decisions for themselves. They're committing to being better. They're wanting to be with you to do that. And also, it does show some resourcefulness. If they have to pick up a couple extra shifts at the movie theater, fine. They are the one that has to make it work. It's a great test of intestinal fortitude to have someone to say, hey man, listen, I don't need to look at your finances to know that like you need to explain something to me. Right. You know, you don't do grading, but you own 2 excavators, and I know you bought them last year because they're brand new. Like I need to know that you're not financially upside down, because financially irresponsible people, and me and half-ass know about degenerate gambling, that they can hide it well. Yeah. And it goes to show some motivating factors for why I wouldn't want someone with me. They're irrational. They shop with feeling. Okay. They have this drive to do things that are unhealthy, be it food related or not. Also, they'll sell you out. They're easy to buy. All right. If you have a bunch of debt, you're easy to buy. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you're right. The FBI is one of the first things they do, but you know,
that's a good point.
Yeah, but for me, it's the every time I hear one statement, you're probably not going to be invited in my group. Well, I'll just take what I need. I've got an AR-15 and a whole pile of ammunition. Yeah, that guy's probably not going to be allowed in my group. So,
no, and that dude's probably never been in a gunfight in his life.
Well, there you go. But you let more than one person with the same skill set in the group. Mm-hmm. What do you think there, Dead Prepper?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially in certain skill sets, like if you got a medical professional and, it all goes sideways and, a 16-year-old that played too much Call of Duty murks them, well, it's not going to hurt to have a backup, it's kind of what we talk about with just supplies and everything else, 1 0 and 2's 1. So yeah, I'd say for most skill sets anyway, having 2 people at least isn't a bad idea at all.
Katrinka says you have very long whiskers, KatrikaLOL. Yeah, we had a little emergency with Katrinka, Teresa. So Landon was kind enough to fill in for us. So, but what about you, Roy? You think you have 2 of the same guy in your?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that is one of the ways that we can barter, right? I go back to Vision is very, very close to me. I trust him. He's, right down the way from me. He's not that far. Maybe his medic suddenly gets unalived. If I have 2 medics, so they can go over there and stay. They can go over there and train, and I'm still with the medic, right? Bartering does not have to be here's some beans for some bullets. It can be skill set for skill set or skill set for supplies or something along those lines. So yeah, I'll take 2.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah. What do you think there, Dead Prepper?
Yeah, I already went. But yeah, what Earl said, good point. I didn't think of that is be able to barter in skills. Yeah, if you got, like he was saying, 2 medics and somebody loses theirs and they need to either help out or train, you could use that for, to barter for supplies or whatever, labor, whatever you need. Yeah.
Look, if you've got 2 plumbers and both of them know how to garden too, shit, you can put 1 plumber plumbing and 1 plumber gardening. Right. So JS Genesis asked you, Member to Press, at what point do you hand a rookie member a weapon?
After you teach them. The absolute second after you teach them. So they don't know what they're doing wrong till you tell them what they can do wrong. All right. The 4 weapon safety rules. All right. Treat, never, keep. Don't point anything you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger off the trigger. Keep the weapon on safe. Right. Everything we've learned. Know to target what lies beyond. Whatever you tell them. All right. If you want to use the adage that thing is a lightsaber and everything you point at it cuts it in half. Whatever you have to do to illustrate it. This could be any age. Some people have went their whole lives without handling a firearm. So this could be from 7 to 97. Okay. But They need to know the rules, and they need to tell you those rules. They can't just go, yep, I get it. No, no, no. Tell me the rules. Like, this isn't a liability thing. This is a trust thing. Okay. And then the second you hand them that weapon, you go, your assessment starts now and doesn't stop until the end of time. The second I see you hand them this weapon unsafely, we're doing remedial training. All right. I don't care how demeaning it is. This is serious. Right. And I'm not saying you're going to hand somebody a firearm and y'all are going to go take a hill that day. That's not the point. Maybe you need them to hold on to somebody's rifle so that they can go take a leak from a guard post. All right. Maybe they're going to help the hunting party today, and it's the first day they're actually going to pull the trigger on a doe. All right. A controlled environment, nobody's shooting back, and they actually have to utilize the skills that you've taught them with that weapon system in order. This could be a crossbow. This doesn't have to be a firearm, right? If you see somebody handling a firearm unsafely, it is the grown-up thing to do, to not get angry, to not yell, not throw brass from across the range at them, but to take them aside. All right. We praise in public. All right. We have talks in private. Okay. Take them away from everybody and go, hey, tell me what you did, why it was wrong. All right. And if they go, this is what I did, this is what I did wrong, that means they can learn from it right now. If they don't know what they did wrong, you need to instruct them what they did wrong and then have them recite the rules back to you. Okay. My brain works on it's a flow chart. If this, then this. There's no time. It's a trust thing. And it's per job too, right? As kind of the self-elected military arm of our group, it's kind of my job to make sure that everybody can handle a weapon safe enough for their position. All right. The cook doesn't always need a piece, but when they do need a piece, they need to be able to operate it in the way I expect them to operate it for the job that they have. If their job is to make sure the women and kids are in the safe spot and to point the gun at the door, that's all they need to be doing. Everything else is trainable, teachable, learnable, and it's something you can drill. You can do a lot of firearms training without pulling the trigger. And if it's just weapon safety, every second you have a firearm on you is training. When it doesn't go off when you don't want it to, and nobody gets hurt, it's a training all day. All the dry fire you show people how to do. I don't just dry fire by myself all the time. Sometimes I have a friend come watch me, hold me accountable for what I'm doing. That if you do it in your microcosm all the time, you're going to get used to pointing that gun around at things that you don't know are safe or not. The trust cannot be broken either. I understand there's operational hazards and there's things that go wrong. Those things we can talk about. But if I on my camp, if I see you swinging an AR around by the pistol grip and you're supposed to be on guard duty with your sling on, we're going to have a talk, champ. You're degrading my trust and you haven't even broken one of the rules yet.
My firearms instructor happens to actually be here in this chat. And I can tell you from experience, you can get your ass chewed on the range if you are being stupid. So
yeah, well, and Musashi, okay, Miyamoto Musashi. If you've never read The Five Rings, read it, especially for a fighting man. I don't need my sword. I need a sword. Okay, that's one thing he said. Along with that, always handle a weapon in a martial manner. Never am I going to, you will see me dragging my AR by the pistol grip, be bopping down the street. I'm going to be holding it like I'm in war. All right. I'm going to be holding it like it's the weapon that deserves the respect that it gets. Those people who, I've done it. I've shot brass into the trash pile. But guess what? Nobody around me's got shot. Nobody shot me. We do it safely and we watch each other. All right. And those weapon safety principles build trust even when you're goofing around. All right. If you're shooting pop cans with a BB gun behind the house to train this new person, they need to be showing some weapon safety rules with those things. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lose an eye. All right. I also don't want to get so mad that I got shot in the shin that I black out and become uncontrollable. Okay. So and it can start as young as 2 years old. with a Nerf gun. It doesn't have to be a weapon. And if they need to show you they can do safe weapons handling with a wooden gun, that's what we do.
Mhm.
Right.
That's a good point. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a good weapons instructor growing up, or Dead Prepper?
Oh, yeah.
Damn good,
Yeah.
or you wouldn't be dead. But yeah,
Yeah, my grandfather was in World War II, and I spent my entire childhood. That's all we did was go out and shoot. I mean, I don't even know how many thousands of hours we spent out at the range. He'd get up in the morning, he'd say, "Come on, we're gonna go shoot today," and we'd go out there crack of dawn and be out there till dark, and yeah, I mean, and so yeah, I was definitely well trained in weapon safety and handling, and yeah, so not everybody was. I was just fortunate enough to have a grandfather that he loved to shoot, and he had a small armory in his basement, and that's what we did. So
I just seen this comment, and I want to comment on this comment. I don't want to get too far down a rabbit hole, but Carolina Country Homesteading, there's a couple of Marines on this panel, okay? And in the Marine Corps, every man's a rifleman, okay? So, yes, I understand you may not be the most capable rifleman in your homestead. You might not be the most deadly warrior. You might not be the person who can drag that body out of the field. But go back and study the Marines at the Chosin Reservoir and find out why it's so important that every Marine's a rifleman. Cooks, airplane fueling guys, truck mechanics, medics. Everyone in the Chosin Reservoir had to pick up a rifle. And if they don't, the group don't make it. So I understand what you're saying, but I behoove you to take some time and familiarize yourself. You don't have to be the marksman in your group.
Yep.
But please take time to learn how to operate the weapons that are available to you in case shit hits the fan. Everybody here, I encourage that. I'm an old man, and my son has made me a deadly person on the battlefield because I train. And it's all a training issue, right, Roel? I mean, am I wrong?
No, I agree. And I have people that I have talked to on various things when we've done firearms training and whatnot. Not to pick on women, but in my experience, it's been women. And a lot of them, they won't go hunting or whatever because they don't want to take out a living, breathing thing. And the thing is that's fine, right? Because for me, I have told them if somebody's outside your door and they're beating on it and you rack that shotgun and they don't flee, that's red flag 1. And if you put a nice 12 gauge through the floorboard and they're still doing it, they've taken your options away, right?
Yep.
You're going to have to pick. And I get it. Some people, they freeze up and you guys, you're right there. If you've got a guy to your left and a guy to your right, you've got to trust them with your life. And if you have somebody that cannot, squeeze that trigger when the moment's needed, I mean, sometimes people just can't do certain things. I get it.
yeah,
Right.
and that's a good point. Personally, I don't like to hunt. I've been hunting on many occasions, but it's not something that I really enjoy. But animals are one thing and people's another. I like animals. People, well, maybe not so much. So, yeah. So I think for me, I honestly think it would be easier. So,
Yeah. But again, and Carolina Country Homesteading, if you're good with a baseball bat, that makes you a pretty deadly person. So, and shotguns are really good for people who have very poor eyesight. I'm just going to let you know, I'm turning into a huge shotgun guy. So, but Rural posted on there earlier and we didn't get to it, and I want to get to it. Is everybody ready for the fall season? Right? It's that time of year. Merle, what do you do to get ready for the fall season?
Well, we start winterizing things, so we start shutting down the crops. We start going through and making sure that everything's good on the house. It might be a good time to start checking like your outside water spigots, doing some caulking around some stuff, going through, changing the furnace filter and doing all that fun stuff. And of course, we've already got our pumpkins. So, yeah, I think we're all good here.
Yeah.
Vision, good to see you. Vision's still splitting wood.
Yeah, well, I know what he does. Of course, he's got plenty of wood to split. So, but yeah, Dead Prepper, I mean, how are you getting ready for fall at your place?
Yeah, well, it's getting about that time to start covering windows and sealing everything up for the winter time. And we've been stockpiling propane in case we have some kind of power outage this year. We're way past due in this area for a big snowstorm. We haven't had I know. I see you shaking. But we haven't had a big one, and hopefully it don't hit, but we haven't had a big one in, well, I can't even remember when the last big one was. So yeah, just kind of getting everything, batting down the hatches and doing some insulating for, covering windows and making sure the heat stays in and just getting ready for, well, whatever might come this winter.
Yeah. Landon, what are you doing at your place to get ready?
Well, I mean, it's must for survival. The photographer had to decorate, so we had to get some corn stalks and hay bales and pumpkins and mums and all that stuff out. And well, fall is her favorite time of year as well as mine, so we kind of go all out for fall for decorating. But I just cycled through getting vehicle maintenance and making sure my generator's up to snuff, rotating fuel. Also here, I had to do some plumbing recently that you helped me out with, and making sure that nothing's going to freeze this year. Last year after the tree hit, I just kind of went, if it freezes, it freezes. And we had a pleasant beginning of the winter, at least. Yeah. And a pleasant fall, but it's time to really this year I've had time to work on. Also, I have our annual family trip, so looking forward to that as ever. And then I have some I'm going to be taking part of.
You're having some technical difficulties there, Merman and Press. You're kind of fading in and out in here.
How about now?
Yep.
Hold on, let me try something.
Still locking up. I'll tell you what. You stand by a second. We'll ask you another one here in a second. I'll finish. I'll tell you what I did. Look, I've been mowing leaves and getting our place ready for winter. I'm that's what we do in the fall, and that's what hopefully all of y'all are doing is getting ready for fall and getting ready for Halloween, because we're going to do two Halloween shows on the Zero Hour.
Yes, two Halloween special, part 1 and part 2. Yes,
that's right. We're going to do 2. So anyway. Look at there. Hello, KP Heathen. Hello, Vision. I don't know if I told you hello or not. So,
KP, good to see you.
So, Landon, try it again.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Well, he went out. He'll come back. So, anyway.
But yeah, it's also time. I think Trent was talking about this the other day about switching out your get home bag and your vehicles and stuff like that, getting some warm stuff in there in case you get stranded on the road, or, in my situation, I got about 6 miles between work and home. And if it comes up a big snowstorm while I'm at work, I'm going home. If I can't drive, they issue a level 3 snow emergency. You're not allowed to drive on the road. I'm still going home. So if I have to walk, then I have to walk, so I make sure I got what I need to get from point A to point B.
Right.
So yeah, it's time to swap all that stuff out, get the thermals and that in your bag, and some warm stuff ready to go. So yeah, it's getting to that time.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it. I was going to, like I said, it's time to swap out your bags, and here we go. I think he's back. Let's see if he's back.
Yeah, I'm not spending the weekend at work. That's not happening. I'm going home.
Well, I hear you, and I kind of see you. I see your cigar.
Now.
There you are.
There you go.
Yeah, you're back. See, while you were gone, we were discussing the fact that, not only should you be getting your home ready, but your get home bag and your vehicle loadout should be changing out this time of year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, what I was saying, I've got some personal training stuff I'm going to try to take care of. I need to actually practice some land nav. So I've printed some maps out, and I'm going to actually create a land nav course and do it. But for the get home bag and everything, basically for mine, I just have to add a whoopee. That's just how I camp. But the truck's going to get, I like to call it my lady's coat. It's my coat, but it's in my truck. So she ain't just going to come take it, but it's for her legs while we're riding. Okay. If y'all don't have your lady's coat in the truck, you're not doing it right. So I switched the little coat to the big coat, and I also throw in some extra lickies and chewies into the truck and cycle the water out. If I have any water in there, instead of where it is, I usually wrap it in a blanket so it doesn't freeze as quick. And then also, I just replaced the battery in my truck. So make sure I can still get to where I'm going, test the battery when it starts getting cold, and hope for the best on that one. For most of the in-house prep and stuff, it's usually pretty good year round. This year I'm going to try some stuff. Not sure exactly how it's all going to be iterated yet, but for now, the wool blankets get thrown in the pack, and really for me, I just add an extra MRE for calories and ready to roll. Mine's pretty simple, but this year I'm actually going to pull the trigger on making a dang get home bag video. I've been meaning to do this for years now. But I'm also gonna thought the photographer needed me. But gonna try to make some kids bags and experiment with that.
Yeah. So, and by the way, y'all, for all that diesel additive stuff, I know a place where you can pick all of that up. So.
Yeah, and as far as you also gotta, your get home bag has to be personalized to the distance that you have to go. Like I said, I got 6 miles. Okay, so 6 miles is, in incumbent weather, let's say 3 hours max. Okay, should be able to do it in 2. It's pretty flat, but the weather, if we get a foot of snow, okay, I'm not going to be going quite as quick as others, but so you need to have what you need depending on the distance you have to go. Like I don't need shelter, right? There's things that I don't need because it's 6 miles. I can make it in a reasonable amount of time that I'm not going to need certain things in my bag. But you need to have that, if I was going 50 miles, well, that's, entirely different story. So you need to have it personalized to how far that you have to go. And if I'm going out of town, I have the bug out / whatever bag that's got, lots of gear in it that I throw in the vehicle, but that's, when on my normal weekly routine, I'm usually not more than 6 miles away from home. So, that's what I have, that's what I need. But like I said, if you got 20 miles to go, it's going to take you all day or something, then you're going to need different gear. So make sure you got what you personally need.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm sure, Rural, you probably stay on top of that too, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, it's part of the prepping mindset, I think.
Yeah, and Mad Chad had a good point too. He threw up there about make sure you got your route down pat. where what route you're gonna take to get from point A to point B. I have two coming home from work, and it kind of depends on what's going on, which one I'm gonna take. But
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. You know, my wife and I, when she's at the office, her office is pretty close to my office, and so you know we actually have a plan if we need to walk home on where we're going to meet and the route we're going to take, right? So that's important if you have that route laid out, that you let someone you trust know your plan, right? If something happens to you and you ain't home in the 3 hours, say it takes you to get home, Dead Prepper, your person you trust can go find your bones laying
right
near the track where you are.
Right. Yeah, my wife knows the two routes that I'm going to take, like I said, depending on what's going on at the time. You know, if I need to stay low profile or if I'm just getting home, you know, it just kind of depends on what's going on. But so yeah, if I don't make it, then she'll know at least what routes to look on, you know.
Right. So we got we're down to the everybody goodbye part of the program.
More this hour goes fast. I'm
telling
you.
You know,
it does.
And again, you know, we just get her plow on the ground on something that was interesting. I didn't get to that question. My wife actually texted me and told me Rural had a really good question, but we were rolling with the other things, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna get back to it." And I was over steady scrolling trying to get back to it so we could. But that was a good thing to talk about this time of year. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it.
But said she already knows that I didn't make it.
Right. But hoorah. But listen, thank all y'all for showing up tonight. Landon, thank you for being available for me.
Yeah, thanks for filling in at the last minute.
Oh, anytime.
And again, send our prayers out to Katrinka and her husband.
Yeah, hopefully everything's okay with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping everything's good. But you know, but anyway, we'll start with the Dead Prepper, then we'll go to Rural, then we'll let Landon say goodbye. As for me, tell the ones you love that you love them, and stay mentally tough. Dead Prepper, take it away.
Yep. And we'll get Katrinka back on sometime.
Oh, most definitely.
We'll reschedule her. But yeah, it's like I said, if you live up here in the Northeast, it's time to start switching things out for the cold weather. It hasn't been too bad yet, but it's coming. I mean, it's mid-October already. So, you know, usually we get a frost about this time of year. So we're getting to that point. So you need to start switching stuff out, getting ready for the cold weather, and just keep doing what you're doing. You know, make sure you got food, water, and an alternate heating source in case, you know, something goes sideways this winter. And hopefully nothing does, but you know, that's why we prep, right? So, yeah. And thanks everybody for coming. We appreciate the support, and hopefully you guys learn something every time. You know, I usually do. Love this show. I think we got a good group of guys here, and we always have a great guest, and I'm happy to be here, and we will see you all next week.
Your turn, Rural.
Yep. I'm going to go with tonight's word is confidence. Confidence goes a heck of a long way. And when you are doing anything, whether it is personal or SHTF, you can go in for a job interview. You can go in to do public speaking or handle firearms for the first time. And to go into something with confidence and true confidence, it can really make that end goal much more achievable. So just remember, preparation is the ultimate confidence builder.
There you go. Good point. Good point. Remember the press? Tell everybody bye and you love them.
I do love them. So as far as the panel, I love being part of this. I don't care if it's impromptu or not. This is the blast, and I love running my gab. So, and y'all let me do it. I appreciate everybody's questions. So I did release the video recently for the domestic violence stuff. We talked about that in the beginning. I'm going to be doing more. I want to do more stuff like that for more everyday things people are going to run into that they could possibly help with or be in themselves. And I think everything we talk about, when we're secure in our future, we should already be secure in our today. And, like today, I want to show some love to my girlfriend because we were busy doing events all weekend, and it's just me and her quiet in the house with the dogs, so that's what I needed today. And I think that's what we need. So, take care of yourself and make sure you hug your families. We don't know when our last day with them is. And I say it all the time. All right, hug your families. There's people I wish I could hug one more time. So, I think we all exude a lot of family love, and I think it's important that we still talk about it every day.
Amen.
Yep.
All right, y'all.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. Love y'all. Mean it. See you soon.